So let's say you found a skeleton. How would you tell if it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
All right, hey everybody, we are here for the sixth Spirit Science live stream where we're just taking apart all this nonsense. Welcome everybody. I have with me a special guest. We got Golden Unicorn here. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? It's a Sunday morning. Everything's nice.
Well, for me, I successfully
worries.
reconnected.
Good. Beautiful.
So let's see. Yeah, it is being kind of a jerk.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it's working for me at my end, I think.
Okay. All right, now I'm
Um,
seeing it coming back up. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Oh.
That's
Well, we're gonna go ahead and
nice.
proceed as if it's working and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, I'll restart a new stream or something. Sorry about that, everybody.
Addicted to Mosh in the live chat asked, how are we supposed to differ between unicorn farts and spirit light?
Wow,
Is
that's
there a
loud. Sorry.
Oh.
So what was the question? I'm sorry.
So they asked, how are we supposed to differ between unicorn farts and spirit light? I thought there was no difference.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I think that is actually the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan is ruining my my connection right now, and I don't know why. But we're gonna charge through, and if it's really bad, let me know, and I will restart my OBS connection and see if that helps. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, we're here to take a look at some spirit science, and he's just told us to meditate, which I actually do think is reasonably good advice. I'm a fan of people meditating because it's, there's actually good evidence-based medical papers out there that say that it can help you with, your mental well-being. It can help you keep calm. It can help with panic attacks. It can help with all sorts of stuff like that. So I am generally pro meditation, but Jordan, I'm pretty sure, is going to take it in a sort of crazy way, and I'm assuming you can see the video, right?
Yeah, I can see the video.
All right, so we're going to hit play. And oh, by the way, guys, you're in the audience. Not you, Manya. You don't count because you're on the panel. I am going to be giving away a Steam key for Engare, I think is how it's pronounced. It's Engare. I will type it in the chat. And so if you want to enter to win this, just share the stream on Twitter and make sure you tag me in it so that way I notice. And yeah, at the end of the stream, I will randomly select one person who has shared the stream and give you a Steam key. Or sorry, Steam key. There you go. All right, here we go.
We have many cycles within our own bodies, such as breathing, drinking, and digestion. These cycles are a lot harder to map out because we are the ones who decide when we eat, what we eat, and how much we eat, as well as how deeply we're breathing and such. But these cycles create massive effects on us throughout our days.
I want to point out, this is supposed to be a video about the physics of life, and now we're talking about how our eating and breathing is going to affect our spiritual well-being or something. Jordan can't stay on topic, apparently.
Wondering what, like, when the video started, they were talking about spiritual health. Or you said something about
I think we might be
health,
back. Yeah, this is supposed to be about, like, spiritual light and how light affects your spiritual well-being. And also, I'm getting a green light on OBS, and I'm getting a much higher kilobytes per second. It's no longer running down to 0 occasionally, so I think we're good on this one. I don't know, it must have just had a weird bad connection. Sorry about that, everybody. It's not the first time it's happened, but it's one of the first times.
Aw, I broke your internet. Dang.
Yeah, I blame you. You're bad luck. You're a curse. So,
oh, God.
Everyone put, I don't know, thumbs down in the chats for Golden Unicorn.
Oh, man, that's mean.
Well, hey, you're the one who's breaking my OBS. All right, we're
put,
gonna
put the loading sign in the live chat. That's
there you go. Yeah, the buffer sign. Okay, that works.
These cycles become more dense, They happen less often. You breathe more than you eat. Air is less dense than solid food. And
You what?
You breathe more than you eat because air is less dense than solid food. I think it's actually
Oh,
because you more constantly need oxygen and go through it more than you
yes.
need food.
Yeah, and I think so. They're doubting my abilities and on how much I can eat.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, maybe. But the other thing is,
No, but that's true. Yes, like because breathing is a constant action that we even it's an involuntary muscle action that we perform while we are even sleeping. So we are pumping in and out continuous amounts of air. So and food we eat only I think twice or thrice a day depending on and also depending on the type of diet you're following. So I don't know where did they get yeah the I I don't know how they're calculating how we breathe more air. What's the point? Maybe they have a point to make, so maybe we might need to listen
maybe.
more.
Although I'll also point out there are organisms that don't breathe at all, but that do eat.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Yes.
especially like things like anaerobic bacteria. They never breathe, but they eat pretty constantly. So, I mean, I guess
But
it's
then
true.
they need like and plants all isn't it? So
Well, they
they
kind of
don't
breathe.
oh,
So they still
yeah,
use
but
they still use oxygen for their cellular processes. It's just that they do because of their photosynthesis, they have a net excess of oxygen and they bring in carbon dioxide to help sort of build up their physical structure. So it's
yeah.
they do breathe, but it's different, so I don't know. Anyway, let's see
Yeah.
Okay,
It's buffering.
so apparently it's actually my internet and not OBS. So I am going to be right back in just a couple. Just it's not even going to be a whole minute of me being back, and then
Okay.
if it's actually just the ISP, there's literally nothing I can do. So we're going to try and find out if it is. If it is, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. So I'll be right back. Manya, if you
Okay.
could sing a song or something, that'd be great.
Okay.
Or you do whatever you want.
Okay. All right, everyone. I took over. Yes, this is my domain now. I am its master. Ha ha hoo ha ha ha. Okay, that was bad. Uh, it's like yeah, the internet's dipping up and down. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to do that. It looks like my presence miffed the internet or the internet connection. Um. So yeah. Kind of funny, like how people talk about spiritual science and stuff, but we don't know exactly what they're talking about. They make claims, but they don't have like even in this video, I don't know if they have linked any citations at the bottom or at the end of it or not. So I'm always interested in citations because I like to see where they're coming from because they might have citations also, but usually they don't say what they are saying. You
All
know what I
right,
mean?
I'm back.
Okay.
So,
Hey.
it's good and bad news. The good news is
Uh-oh.
I don't have to reconnect OBS or anything. The bad news is
Okay,
that's
good.
because at best my internet is currently 1/20th of the speed it's supposed to be.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I'm gonna blame my ISP. I'm gonna try to go forward, but if in the next half hour this doesn't fix itself, we're just gonna try again another day, guys.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
That's alright.
But we're gonna see what we can do, and if this doesn't work out, I might even just put in a new thumbnail and call this one Spirit Science 5.5 because we didn't quite make it to a full episode.
Yeah.
All right, here we
Oh
go.
man.
As you breathe in, you ride the wave of the breath up, and as you breathe out, you drop the wave back down. As you go about your day, every hour, minute, and second, you are breathing.
Okay, so those are less dense cycles. So breathing is less dense than blinking, is what I'm going to go ahead and say, right? Because people usually take multiple breaths per blink, right?
Won't it be the other way around?
Well, Jordan said that longer cycles are denser than shorter ones. I don't know why. He said it though.
Yeah.
See, it makes no
I was
sense.
thinking maybe because why the longer cycles are denser is because there are more number of breaths in there. So, and within 1 second, if there are like, for example, there are two breaths, one inhale and one exhale, and there's only one blink, or even like in 5 seconds, there will be more inhales and exhales, and then just one blink,
Yeah.
then your inhale and your breathing cycle is more dense than your blinking cycle. I just don't get it what they're trying to say.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I think so with it. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say the whole thing just doesn't actually make any sense. It's apparently
Yeah.
in Jordan speak, dense is bad. So I guess he's like we learned that in the previous video we looked at the history of the world or the hidden history of the world or whatever it was called. Because he was always like, oh, if we go to denser levels of consciousness, then we're less aware of our surroundings. We need to go up into less dense levels of consciousness with But then he said that lower density had a higher frequency, so he's contradicting himself. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's confusing. I would have loved to see like their definition of density is confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm taking here is I think so. It's accumulation of breaths. That's what they mean, if I'm not wrong, or accumulation
Maybe.
of time that makes something dense. But if we break it down to a second, how do you compare a second to a year? Obviously, 1 second is less than a year, so it will have less density of whatever than a year. So, and again, are they trying to? I don't know what they're trying. The point, I don't get the point they're trying to make. Still, and
Well,
about someone in the live chat said they don't breathe every second. That might be true, and breathing hard and fast it's not good for your health because you can actually induce a panic attack if you want to, or an anxiety attack if you
Yeah.
do that. So it depends. Are you running? What activity you're doing? What's your body reacting to? That's how your breathing is affected. So yeah, I'm still okay. I still don't get the point. Maybe we need to watch a little more to see what point they're trying
Well,
to make.
there also might not be one, so prepare for that too.
Yeah,
And if you create a healthy breathing cycle for yourself, then the other cycles you are experiencing, the larger ones, will become more harmonious naturally.
Well, so okay,
Okay.
but the thing is, Jordan hasn't actually described what harmony is. He just says that natural cycles can be in or out of harmony. Now, my understanding from like musical theory, which is not at all my area of expertise, so I am very much open to criticism and correction on this, right? But my understanding is that for two frequencies in terms of sound to be in harmony, then the frequency of each sound has to be with part of like a whole number ratio, right? So you can have 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 or something like that, right? So that frequently peaks and troughs of these two frequencies will line up at whole number intervals, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but the thing is that then Jordan he went on to talk about natural cycles that aren't actually whole number ratios, like the day cycle and the year cycle. As most people know, I think there's 365.25. It's actually a little bit off from that. It's like 0.24 something.
Also, yeah, and also, what about when you're doing like high intensity activity like running and stuff? Your breathing cycle will not be like it will be more dense, if I might use the word they're trying to say.
Yes. So does that mean it comes out of harmony? Does that mean exercise is disharmonious?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see, what they're trying to say. Oh, sorry. God dang, they gave me a brain fart. So yeah, so that I'm trying to still understand. Okay, yeah, I get it. Breathing regularly is good for your health. I get that. Breathing, but we also have to remember that your lungs are sort of a muscle, and if I'm not wrong,
Diaphragm is a muscle, and that's what pushes your lungs up and down.
Yeah, gotcha. Sorry. So yeah, the more you practice breathing, it's good and better for you. Yes, I get that because your diaphragm gets more exercise. That's why running is important. That's why or jogging, depending on, and even swimming. And for people who can't run, jog, or swim, practicing breathing, it's good. It's good for health. But the logic they're going with, it's kind of bamboozling me here. Yeah.
Well, that's because Jordan doesn't have a lot of logic. And also, by the way, guys, I know that I mention this most episodes, but yes, I am very aware of the extremely disturbing and obviously criminal acts that Jordan has admitted to. And if you want further information, I do believe I have a link to that recording where he admits to
Oh,
these
okay.
things. Yeah,
I
because
didn't know about that.
well, let's just say this: this is the kind of person who should be in prison for a very long time because of
It
something
kind
he
of-
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Enam in the live chat said, they're throwing in facts there, so that's nice. So they said that average 6 to 9 breaths per minute for
Oh,
resting
okay.
adults. So yeah, so that's it. You don't breathe every second. So I don't know where they're getting this,
Maybe it means like to give him a principle of charity, right? To be nice to Jordan's argument here, if not Jordan himself.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
what
coming
he
from
means.
a very unbiased way here. I'm trying to understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
So far,
Maybe what he means is during every second of the day, typically you are either breathing in or breathing out, right? So like even if your frequency of breath isn't 1 a second, during any given second you're probably either breathing in or out. Maybe that's what he's going for. That's the most charitable version I can come up with. But let's see what else we get from him.
Okay.
If you change the cycle of your breathing, if you alter it to accommodate technological cycles, such as pollution and obesity, then once again, the result is a cycle that is less harmonious with the natural order of things in your body.
But how do you know that, right? Like, I don't disagree that environmental and health factors can affect your breathing rate, right? So, for instance, if you're...
also like, and it's also like, it's not a voluntary thing. Like, they're talking about it as if we consciously adjust our breathing. It's our body that does. I get it. Like when you have like cholesterol in your arteries and veins and stuff, so it becomes difficult. Yes, it does affect your breathing when you have more weight on you. Yes, you will work, obviously you will work more to carry around that weight, so your breathing is more laborious. I get that too. Plus about pollution also, we are breathing, I don't know about the pollution though, but yeah, breathing in more polluted air is not good for you, but it's not like we are consciously making any efforts to adjust. Our body might involuntarily, give a reaction to adjust to such changes, but it's not us. So they're talking about it as if we do it voluntarily. So I don't know what they're trying to do. And they're talking about, oh, well, it's then your breathing is less harmonious to the rest of the natural, whatever they were talking about. So scientifically speaking, if you're breathing more pollution, if you're breathing more pollution, more polluted air, or if you're carrying around more weight because of the food you're eating, etc., 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 yes, your breathing will become laborious.
Yeah.
That's true. But I don't know what they mean by the other natural cycles of the body. Maybe they mean your every organ in your body is working more. Your heart works more to pump out more oxygenated blood. Your kidneys work more. Your pancreas work more, so maybe that's what they're talking about. But it's all known things, so I don't know what's...
One of the problems is that if harmony has to do with, which it does in the real world, the non-crazy world, harmony has to do with frequencies, right? And if something is disharmonious because it has changed the frequency with which it happens, then exercise is equally going to cause disharmony, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exercise will cause disharmony.
I guess don't exercise.
Yeah, why do they have to use this language? I guess they feel more comfortable with that kind of language, so they use that, but it's not scientific language, if I might say.
I think Jordan uses... sorry, go ahead.
It's like fluffy language for me. It's like fluffing stuff up.
I do want to let everyone know that when Golden Unicorn and I talk, there's a pretty big delay because of how distant we are, so we're going to talk over each other every once in a while. Sorry about that.
Sorry, guys. And someone, and I'm in the live chat said, ban the bikes, save the breathing.
Yes. Anything that makes you breathe faster is obviously bad for you. But I want to get a little bit more of Jordan in here. Let's see what else he's got for us.
Yeah.
Some call this dis-ease, the opposite of a natural cycle, which flows with ease.
So I am actually going to point out that for the first time so far, Jordan has actually more or less gotten an etymology correct. So, disease comes from Old French, and it actually comes from the prefix that in English usually results in dis, which in Old French was des, des, and then it comes from ace, which also means ease or convenience or sense of well-being. So he is actually, for the first time, more or less correct about an etymology that disease really is a lack of well-being or a lack of convenience or something. So I want to give a round of applause.
That's good. But in the next sentence, what did they say? They were talking about when the body is something out of like its natural cycle or something. So again,
yeah, that's a little
they're
weird.
coming up with this fluffy language, which we don't need to use, or they need to clarify what they mean by that.
Yeah, because the thing is, disease is completely natural. You might not like it, but like disease isn't the result of demons inhabiting you or the wrath of God. It's a natural result of things like genetics, environment, pathogens, things like that, right? Or even just your own poor choices. Which I say as someone who does make poor choices, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to lure that over people. Let's see what else.
Hell yeah.
Let's see what else Jordan has for us.
Thus, disease. Of course, you can always correct a cycle that is in dis-ease. Sure, it might take some time, but with enough steps in the direction of a natural cycle, you'll eventually get yourself back into the flow.
No, that's you can't always fix diseases, whether or not there's some kind of cyclic nature. There are diseases that are terminal, and there are also diseases that are simply permanent. Right?
Yep.
So, for instance, if you have a genetic disease, and maybe it's not terminal, right? Like maybe you can live a long life with it, but it's going to be a constant source of discomfort or pain or disability.
Yeah.
That's not, no amount of exercise is going to fix it, right?
No, and with the visuals they're using, they're trying to, number one, fat shaming. God damn it. And number two, I think that they're focusing only on things that can be corrected. I'm thinking, or that can be worked on, I guess, because even then, like weight problems for some people cannot be solved, easily. It takes a lot of hard work because, it can be there's some organs in their body that don't function properly and they can't do anything about it. So what I think they're saying is, okay, there are functions in your body that might have to work more depending on your environment and what you eat. Okay, I get that. And that you can work on them. I don't know how much about what we breathe in, but yeah, what we eat maybe, but then also depends which country you're in, what type of food resources you have available. So yeah, I kind of get it, but I don't know why they have to use this fluffy language. It's just that I can understand it because I've worked in that area, like, working on yourself and stuff. I get that, but to use this language like harmonious cycles and stuff, I don't get that. What they're trying to, we don't need that language. I'm just saying, it's just regular stuff everyone knows. So yeah, if we ignore the fluffy language.
Well, that's all that Jordan really has for us most of the time. It's just fluffy language that is inconsistent. But we're gonna hit play.
Okay.
If you start your day in a healthy way in the morning, then the rest of your day will flow a lot more harmoniously. If you wake up with the sun, you ride the wave of the entire day and are more in tune with the day itself.
So I actually would like to see a citation for that. So I'm going to use my citation needed clip on that. Because, do you?
Also, have they been into like North or South Pole where people live, or have they been to regions which are North and South Pole where the days are a lot shorter, like your sunrise is very late or your sunset is very early? Welcome to New Zealand, guys. Sometimes the sun doesn't rise till like 9 a.m. or doesn't set till 9 p.m. or even 9:30, or sometimes sets like right around 5:30 p.m. So yeah, in that case, rising with the sun is not practical, I'm afraid. So it might be what do you say, preferred,
Yeah.
I might say. Still, again, like Dapper Dino said, we will need citation for that.
Yeah, I want Jordan to tell like some Inuit people in like northern Alaska, or even just my cousin who is in Alaska and where a lot of the times for her sunset is 10 o'clock p.m. and sunrise is, 2 a.m., that she should rise and sleep with the sun. Because
Yeah, 4
that's
hours of sleep on now.
yeah, she's not going to be able to do it. It's going to be a big problem. And the converse is true in the winter when, sunrise is like 10 a.m. and sunset is like 2 p.m. What do you want her to do? You want her to be awake for 4 hours and then try to sleep for 20 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah, so and that's yeah, this I don't know. I think so it's a myth to talk about that you should rise with the sun and sleep with the sun. I get it, like having a good sleeping and wake up cycle is good. Um, but does it have to be, in in line with the sunrise and the sunset? Nah.
No.
I need citation for that again, like you said, needs a citation. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, my chat box is being weird. Oh, you know what it is? It's because of I tried to send a chat at one point and it didn't send because I literally didn't have internet. So then it gave me an error message, and then I cleared the error message and it shifted things around. Sorry about that, guys. That's all behind the scenes nonsense that I'm gonna ignore now and hit play on.
So, I think that someone said, so addicted to Mosh in the live chat said, ugly German truth. She's a farting unicorn. He introduced her.
Well, I mean, presumably unicorns do fart if they do eat the same basic stuff as horses.
Well, we definitely give out, what did they say, light, spurt light? That's what we do.
Spurglight, yeah, that's what unicorn farts are.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
This was a hard one for me to put into practice because for many years as a teenager, I was that night owl who would sleep from 3 or 4 a.m. and get up at noon as a regular practice.
Yeah, so here's the thing about that. Humans at different ages have different natural sleep cycles. And teenagers are naturally night owls, right? That's one of the reasons why so many kids in like high school in the United States, which is like ages like 14 to 18, are so tired throughout most of the school day. It's because naturally they wouldn't be awake until it's more than halfway done. And that's why so many of them don't get enough sleep. And the thing is, now the reverse is true. As humans age, they tend to get up earlier and earlier. That's why many people who are, 60, 70, 80 are up at like 4 a.m. But then, around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they're like, okay, I'm done. I gotta cut out of here. In fact, I've even noticed it with my parents who are actually in town visiting, and they're currently celebrating their anniversary. So cheers for that. But their natural wake up, even when they're on vacation, is like 6 a.m. And by 8 p.m., they're kind of like winding down and they're not going to be up much longer. But when I was a kid, I remember them sleeping in on Saturdays and Sundays until, like 9, 10. I don't even think they could do that if they wanted to now.
yeah, I think it depends on person to person also. And yes, every individual has their own sleep cycle. And for example, mine is very different. And it also depends on your work. Do you do day shift work? Do you do night shift work? Or do you do both? It depends on that too, how your sleep cycle is affected and how it works or how it shifts and changes. And for teenagers particularly, I'm not saying that what they are saying might not be true, but for teenagers the workload's a lot more. So that's why we tend to become night owls, because we're trying to cram everything in less time. Also, projects, tests, and everything.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's why we become night owls, mostly because
that is part of it. Yeah.
But stuff. Yeah.
It is also something that we see in areas where teenagers are not being necessarily heavily schooled, although I do think it is to a lesser degree. And so it's actually not clear. There's not a whole lot of great answers in science as to why humans have this, but one of the hypotheses that I like the most is that let's say you're in like a hunter-gatherer group, right? Where
Mhm.
predation by animals is still a significant threat, right? There might, like a cave lion or a saber-toothed tiger or something might come by and just eat somebody in the night. Well, if
Yeah.
you have some members of the group who are up late into the night, and then other members of the group who wake up very early, you spend very little time on any given day with everyone asleep. So during the early evening, you can have some of your teenagers shout if there's a lion or a bear or something that's coming by. And early in the morning, even before sunrise, you can have the older members of the community who can give the alarm. And so I don't actually,
Yeah.
there isn't great evidence for this. It's still very much a hypothesis, and it may never actually be demonstrated. But I do like that
Yeah.
as a reasonable explanation as to one of the reasons that humans might have these shifting day-night cycles. And we also had
Yes.
Mute Donkey who pointed out
Oh,
it's generally very not a good thing to go against your natural sleep cycle. If you're a night
Yeah.
owl, if you
I
can,
can vouch for that.
yeah, just embrace it. And the thing is, I've noticed my own personal sleep cycle shifting. I used to
Yeah.
I used to be up routinely till 2, 3 in the morning, and that was not that long ago. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years ago. But
Mhm.
now I have trouble staying up till 1, and I have trouble sleeping past 7. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
shifting my own sleep cycle.
My sleep cycle is bad because I used to work two jobs where one was a day shift job and the other was a night shift job
Oof, that's rough.
on weekends. Yes, and so my sleep cycle is already all over the place and I'm still trying to recover from it. So yeah, I get it. They might have had, they might be have been a night owl and now they have decided to switch. And yes, it is difficult to change your sleep cycle. It's not easy at all. So I'm not. I'm sure that I believe them that yeah they were you used to be a night owl during teenagers and then they decided to switch to try and switch their sleep cycle and they were successful at it. Most people, some people are successful at it. Not all, some. So yeah. But with again, if they're saying that they now every day rise with the sun and sleep at sunset, that's kind of like okay,
Yeah.
good on you, I guess. But that might be because you're conveniently placed on one part of the planet where you get a lot of hours to complete your work within the sunrise and sunset. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, we had some talk about the chat switching to German, and look, I do not enforce a English only rule on my channel. In fact, I have in the comments encouraged people who are having trouble expressing themselves in English to just go ahead and use their native language, because there's a fair chance that I'll be able to figure it out if you go for that. What that also means is
Same.
if you want to switch to another language in chat, that's okay. But remember, it's my chat, so there's a fair chance that if you start violating any of my moderation rules in another language, I might actually notice, because do remember whose channel this is.
Ooh.
So
Alright.
we're gonna hit play.
At least during the summer. If you think about it, there are different living things which are adapted for different parts of the day.
You mean like teenagers and adults? Okay.
Owls are nocturnal.
That's not an owl. That's not an owl. That's a tawny
What?
frogmouth.
Yeah.
That's-
What? Please use correct animals when you're talking about. I think so. They just used the stock video from somewhere, and they said, "Oh yeah, that looks like an owl because of the eyes.
Oh.
Probably because of the yellow in the eyes." And they're like, "Yep, this is an owl. Let's take
Probably.
this."
But yeah, guys, this is a tawny frogmouth. They're from. I know they're in Australia. Do they also have them in New Zealand? I don't know.
These ones, the tawny frog ones.
They do.
Don't know actually. Might have to check.
Okay. Well, I know that they do definitely live in Australia, and they are not
Well-
owls.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised the difference between the wildlife in Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, it's considerable. The only reason I think that there might be an overlap there is because they can fly, and that's the most likely area where you're going to get overlap is in flying animals.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, they can be found. Yes,
Okay.
we do have tawny frogmouths, known as they're
They have
Latin
a
name of
they have a
or
Maori
their
name.
Sturgeotis. I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah. So yeah, we do have those. But we have a different type, like obviously a little different type.
Yeah, I would expect it
Yeah.
to be a different species.
Yeah.
Um.
But that's not an owl. That's
Oh,
not an owl.
John Smith says I can also offer Russian. That's actually a funny story. I was in a chat once, and I was using a different account just because I didn't want to be asked questions about my channel and stuff, which that happens, guys. I have a few accounts where sometimes I'm just there just to hang out. I'm not trolling people. I just don't want to always be Dapper Dino because then people make it a thing sometimes, especially if it's in a chat where I'm known. So this time I had a Greek name, and someone started trying to flex on with Greek with me, and I'm just like, I'm answering their questions in English, but then they switched to like Macedonian, and I'm like, no, I don't speak Macedonian, guy. What do you want from me? And the only reason I bring it up is because Macedonian is actually a Slavic language spoken in the country of Greece in the area of Macedon, and it's a little weird because it's like a Slavic language stuck in the middle of Greece. But
So were they like flexing and saying, "Yeah, you got a Greek name, but you
yeah,
can't
that's exactly what they were trying to do, and being able to understand their weirdly formatted Latin alphabet Greek, apparently, then they just tried to flex Macedonian. I'm just like, sorry guys.
I don't get this flexing stuff." Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were just like, I don't know. Some people have a very weird sense of humor, if I might say.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let's keep
Yeah.
going with talking about owls, despite showing a tawny frogmouth.
So they're adapted to see better in the dark.
Tawny never mind.
As people can see in dim or dark light, it does take some time for us to adjust, unless we superimpose a technological device over top of it, like.
So,
Ooh, we got this.
does Jordan think other animals don't have to adjust to seeing in the dark?
Oh god.
Like, I'll tell you what, Jordan. Take an owl. No, don't actually take an owl. Ask someone who cares for owls in like a zoo. I don't trust Jordan near animals. And then ask them to do the check that you can do with humans, right? To see if they're dazed or anything, where you put a flashlight over their eyes, and if the iris contracts, then they're reacting to the light normally, and if it doesn't, it might indicate they're under the influence of like a drug, or they might have some nerve damage or something like that. Ask them to do the same thing with an owl, and I guarantee you that unless there's something wrong with the owl, its people will also contract, because owls also have to spend time adapting. It's less time, and they're better once they do adapt, but like, you can't just draw this distinction that, oh, owls never have to adapt their vision to the nighttime. No, that's not how it works.
Well, yeah, like depending on how much activity you do at night, your body will evolve over time or maybe centuries to adapt to your certain, lifestyle and stuff. And it's becoming like that. Humans are, depending on which part of the world you're in, what sleep cycles you have, humans are evolving that way.
Yeah.
I don't know about vision, even vision wise, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, this thing about just cause you cannot see properly because our sensors in our eyes cannot process some, light frequencies or whatever, that we shouldn't be working during nighttime. That's a weird thing for me. Like, again, I need a citation for, like, I think so what they're trying to say is, let me summarize that. What they're trying to say is because owls have the ability to see through, through darkness. So they are okay. They can, and because they hide during the daytime, they can see during daytime, but they usually sleep during daytime because nighttime is good for hunting, because other creatures who can't see properly in dark, they can hunt those creatures. So that's fine. They're using, their eyesight to an advantage. But to say that because humans cannot see through dark, so they shouldn't work at nights or something like that, or they shouldn't work at all after sunset, that's very weird to me, because humans can, humans are I think so, one of the only species who can change their environment to suit their needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we've got lights inside the house and stuff.
Well, and the thing is,
yes, proper sleep is good. Good sleep cycle is good for your health. But to say that, somehow you shouldn't work after dark, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what else he's got for us.
Night vision goggles. Now, there are always positive and negative swings in cycles, or maybe a better way of putting it would be periods of expansion and contraction.
Look, it doesn't have to be expansion and contraction. It has periodicity, but like with everything, positive and negative in science doesn't mean good and bad. It doesn't mean contraction and expansion. It just means that you're varying from a medium, right? Or median, sorry. So that's zero. Average, an average, right? So, for instance, if there's a temperature cycle, it doesn't have to vary across zero, right? So right now we have a daily cycle of, well, okay, it's a bit different because we've just been having a bunch of monsoon storms. But before the monsoon hit, we were cycling, I'm going to give Fahrenheit because I'm in the US and those are the numbers reported to me. Although, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Well, it's, okay, I'll go Celsius. So we were basically going from about, around like 30 to about 42 daily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very hot. But the thing is, though, that means that the center point that we were cycling around wasn't zero. You know, it was about, what is that, like 37 and a half or so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and like, sure, you can say it's negative when we're going down in temperature, but like you can also have when you have like an electrical cycle, right? So when you plug something into your wall, at least in the US and Canada, you're getting 60 hertz. I know that in other places it's a bit different. I don't know what it is everywhere because I was only trained to do electrical stuff in the US. So sorry, guys. I can't easily convert that one. But at least the US uses the same units for electricity as everyone else. You know, volts are volts.
That's a save, yeah.
Right. So if it's 60 hertz, but the thing is, like with electricity, when you say, oh, you have negative voltage, it's arbitrary. It actually doesn't mean that you're going down in voltage. We just decided that one side of voltage we just call positive. So it's if Jordan is about to try to make some kind of value judgment out of this, I'm going to be pretty upset. Was it 50 hertz in the UK? Oh, you know, Dread Lindworm, that makes sense. That's why UK broadcast TV is at 25 frames per second, because that's half of the 50 hertz. Okay. that makes sense. Because I also notice sometimes like people from the UK, if I download a video from YouTube, it'll be at 25 frames per second because that's the broadcast frame rate for UK TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And the Nova Saber in the live chat said, bats have bad night vision despite being active at night. Yep.
Well, so it does vary by species. Some of them do have bad night vision, and also not all bats are nocturnal. There are diurnal and crepuscular bats. But some bats also have excellent eyesight. So it does vary.
There are some species that are active at night and may have bad vision. So this idea of that you shouldn't work after dark or you should just drop sleep after dark, it's weird. Like, I don't know where they're coming from for that.
Yeah.
So
all right, well, let's see where he's coming from. Maybe he'll give us an explanation. He hasn't so far, but
like a sine wave, just up and down all the time, and sometimes simultaneously. Such as with a magnet, you have a positive end and a negative end.
But that's not a cycle. That's a constant. Maybe he'll address that. Yeah. We'll give him. Let's give him a little bit.
One is pulling, one is pushing, plus or minus, masculine and feminine polarities.
Oh goodness!
Come on, man.
If this were a drinking game, that anytime
negative according to him, I really want to know. Is he talking about the female or is he talking about the male when he's talking about negative?
Well, given his history with women,
I'm gonna come with my jandals at you.
Given his history with women, which again, link in the description, I'm going to go ahead and say he was going to think that the feminine is the, quote, negative one.
Oh, excuse me. All the wars were started by men, and all the women who have been leaders...
That's not true.
Really?
Look at the British invasion of the Falkland Islands. That was started by Margaret Thatcher.
That was after someone invaded the Falkland Islands. Thank you very much.
Just saying
and
that
even in that too, a lot of discretion was,
I'm just saying... When the United Kingdom decided to respond with military force, it was Margaret Thatcher who did it. Also, various European queens have started plenty of wars.
Are we forgetting George W. Bush? Are we forgetting?
Oh, I'm not saying men don't start wars. I'm just saying you can't say that they were all started by men. No, most men never get to start. most wars were started by men,
Yeah, so
but I've
by that logic,
actually read statistical analyses of historical wars, adjusting for the difference
uh-huh,
in numbers of heads of state between men and
uh-huh,
women. And
uh-huh.
historically, women were not statistically significantly less likely to start or be involved in wars as heads of state.
I'm not talking about statistically less likely, but if we do go by the numbers, okay. Um, I was just making a joke. I think so. We stretched it.
Maya
Um,
Atkinson is just eating the popcorn as we debate whether or not men or women are more likely to be warmongers.
well, let me just say, when the British Empire was establishing colonies in other countries, and like the British Empire in India, where the Indians suffered a lot. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll give it to them. It was mostly under um, women queens,
Hmm.
female or queens in short. So yeah, so I get that. Like both sexes are, capable of performing war crimes, if I might say. Bloody Mary. So
Oh,
yeah, I
fun
get it. We
fact!
were just touching a joke.
Fun fact: the guy who was in charge of the execution of Mary, Queen of Scots, my direct
Uh-huh.
ancestor.
Ooh, yes, you have told me about that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's very interesting.
Yep.
Maybe we can, if you can find some of his memoirs or stuff, maybe we can sit down and read those one
That
day.
would be cool, but I
Um,
don't know they left any.
yeah, but yeah. So this thing, I'm taking an offense to this male and female thing he just brought in as a positive and negative, unless he's talking about he's not talking about in the positive and negative sense. They're trying to, like what you were saying, that it's up and down, and it's the net sum or the average is supposed to be a flat line or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and that average can shift up and down, or median can shift up and down with time. But again, I don't know what the point they're trying to make, so it's not matching. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
We've explored this in thorough detail in our episode on the 7 Hermetic Principles.
Which, by the way, if you guys want, I would be willing to at least entertain a video about the 7 Hermetic Principles. But the problem is, I'm not as up on Hermeticism as I could be, so it would probably require me to do a little bit of extra background reading and research into Hermeticism. So let me know in the comments, not in the chat, because I'm never going to read this chat again. Sorry, guys. I know, disappointing, right? But let me know in the comments if doing a look at Jordan's take on the Hermetic Principles would be something that would interest you, and if enough people are interested, and I don't have a set threshold, it's just going to be my vague impressions. If enough people are
Well,
interested,
probably already like do it.
yeah, well, I mean, look, I know it's YouTube. Everyone's like, "God, do it," no matter what the suggestion is, but still.
Yeah,
A
I
lot of
gotcha.
people think that negative means bad and positive means good.
Yeah, he definitely did associate negative with femininity, but he's now going to say negative isn't bad, I think. So we'll hold off just a bit.
But that's not always the case.
Okay.
In fact, Kabbalistically speaking, sometimes the realm of God, called Ein Sof, is considered negative space because it's pre-creation, which is considered positive because it exists. But as stated in the 7 Hermetic Principles, a better way to look at it is masculine and feminine, or simply varying polarities based on the direction of the energy. As always,
I will agree with the last one. Varying polarities based on the direction of the energy is a little clunky, but I'll at least give that one. That's an
Okay, but
okay description.
yeah, but how is it related to our whatever natural cycles they want to talk about?
Well, since
I
femininity is negative, I'm just going to have to go and say that females have an excess of electrons, and males have fewer of them.
Okay. I'm
That
just going
doesn't
by a word.
that doesn't make any sense at all, but it's what I'm going with. Actually,
Okay.
that would also mean that if a male and female ever actually touch, they would always like shock each other, like when you have a static charge.
Yeah, I get it. I guess what they mean when they say, "Oh, hit by a cupid."
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the electrical discharge. Okay.
please don't consider this as it relates to man or woman specifically,
Oh,
because all of us have masculine and feminine energies within us.
thanks for being
When
progressive,
we
Jordan.
don't allow the cycles to flow in their natural way, we often create things that feel uncomfortable over and over.
Remember, guys, this is supposed to be about light. I'm just pointing that out.
And how
Inviting
many minutes are
ourselves
we?
into reality
Stop. Sorry.
How many minutes are we in?
Well, so we're on minute 23:20. Well, minute 23 seconds, but we started on minute 20 and 13 seconds.
Okay.
We've gone
I
through
need to
3
go.
minutes 10 seconds.
Uh,
I also want to say thank you to Carrie Bronson, who has said a blessing of the void upon all viewers. Yes, remember, the void is willing to let you cast off all of your fears and troubles into the void, where they will dissipate into the infinite nothingness, and thereby releasing you from your anxieties and fears. And the void also accepts any and all donations to the void, which is just me, because I'm in charge of the new religion, the void, which I don't know if you heard about, Golden Unicorn. I accidentally started a religion on the channel. It's the Church of the Void, and we don't have very many teachings, except that the void is always there for you to cast all of your fears and anxieties into, where they will dissolve. And also, I accept donations. That's the whole religion. What do you think? Oh, is Golden Unicorn there? Did I lose her? I might have lost her, folks.
no, you didn't lose me. I was just making some tea, and I did hear
Got it.
you. Yes, that's an excellent religion.
All right.
And
Making tea
let's
reminds me.
go.
Well, actually, making tea reminds me. We're going to take a quick intermission because
Yeah.
I also need to refill my liquid because otherwise my throat is going to get pretty sore from all this. So we're going to take a quick, roughly 4-minute intermission, during which time Golden Unicorn can make sure that her tea is just perfect, and I will pour another ice cold beverage into here. So we will
How many
be
minutes did you say?
roughly 4.
4. Okay, make it 3.
Well, if we come back, if we are both back early, we can end it early.
Okay, cool.
I want to take a moment to talk about something serious. There is a problem facing late surviving non-avian dinosaurs in modern America. Hunting is very strictly regulated, and only allowed at certain times of the year. This means that for much of the year we have to rely on farm-raised food, which means money. If you want to help a starving dinosaur, please consider donating on Patreon, or buying from my merch store. Links are in the description. Please help. Dinosaurs all over YouTube are depending on you to help them through the hunting off-season.
Oh, Nani? Dare? Oh, Ojira desu ka? Hai, Gojira-san. Hai.
All right, everybody, we are back, and before we get back into it, there's a couple things in the chat I want to discuss. One is that Vishanti said that there is a great cosmic horror movie called The Void. You should watch it. Vishanti, I'm a little bit insulted that you would think that I have not already watched it more than once, because I have in fact seen it at least twice, and it was a lot of fun. It is also excellent. I do recommend it. And also, as Bendit says, is it possible to get labels to the intermediate fossils intermission to make it possible to look them up? The answer is yes, but it is a big project that is currently extremely low on my priority list. However, if anyone is interested in helping with that process, do let me know. I can get you the original video file, and I will say right off the bat, most of those pictures are just off of the Wikimedia Commons, so that can help. So if that's something that you're interested in helping with, go for it. But right now, I mean, it's very low on my priority list. Sorry, guys. I know. But right now, my priority list is like finishing off another speculative evolution video. I have one episode of my next series done, and I want to complete the next probably 4-ish. I also just have a new video that I found that came out from Finding Truth's channel, and I want to address it because it's bad, and I like Finding Truth, and I want him to get better. So there you go. Vishanti says, "Sign me up for your Void religion, Dapper Dino." Well, hey, the Void is open to all, but it does take donations. So let's hit play on this.
That we don't actually want. It's actually a sort of short circuit in the cycle or a loop, the positive looping back on itself or the negative looping back on itself. It's not supposed to be a loop. There needs to be a crossing over of the masculine and feminine energies and a kind of balance maintained.
Is he just talking about sex?
Probably, I think so.
Okay, well, hey, that's fine. The Dapper Dino channel is not here to be like, no, guys, never ever have sex. We're okay with what consenting adults do, which, by the way, that consent thing is something Jordan has had problems with. Again, link in the description.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Also, by the way, currently, Icarus is in the lead for getting a stream key, because so far, he's the only one who shared this on Twitter and tagged me in it, so... Oh, no, he didn't. You don't count, because you're on the panel. Actually, no, he didn't. He just liked your share of it. So, guys, if you want Engar or Engare, do tweet this. Oh, okay, it is Engara, and I just noticed because it's in I think it's in Urdu on the back. Yeah, it's in Urdu on the back. Which, yes, I can read Urdu. Well, I can pronounce Urdu if I see it written. Hooray! It's not that hard if you know Arabic.
No, I'm just curious to see where he like this concept of like male and female positive and negative energies. Like the analogy might match at some points, with scientific data or something like that, or scientific principles. The analogy might match, but with with your breathing and your body energy, I don't know what they're trying to say there. Again, I'm very confused. So yeah, I get it. We have sometimes we feel very high in energy and sometimes we feel very low.
Yeah.
That's part of, but any link to like what point are they trying to make here? And the thing about like balance of life and stuff, this is not spiritual science in any way, if I might dare say. So,
you don't say. Spirit Science might be a poorly named channel. Hot takes right here.
Yeah. But the title of the video is what? What's the title of this video, if I'm not wrong?
So the original is The Movie of Light, and the various things have to do with like the physics of light or spiritual light, and the subparts have titles like that.
Okay, so 25 minutes in and still we haven't like made to the topic, I guess.
Well, we went away from the topic. We started much more on topic, and then very early on we just went way away from it.
Okay, cool. So let's see what they have to say. Maybe
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It takes self-awareness to do so. As long as we float through life unconsciously, then our cycles will continue to play out without effortlessness or harmonious flow.
Okay, so it takes effort to be effortless with your harmonious cycles. That's a phrase that I guess makes sense to Jordan. I don't know. I'm gonna let a little bit more go because we can't solve it every half second.
Yeah.
And life is just more challenging. Now, of course, we've also made the connection before with the structure of DNA. This is the instruction set and blueprints for the building blocks that make up our being, otherwise known as proteins. As we increase our awareness of the
So Jordan isn't super wrong here. I'm just gonna point out that DNA doesn't just code for proteins. There's other things that it does. It can regulate the expression of certain proteins. It can look. It's really complicated. I don't want to get into a whole course on genetics.
Switch from positive and negative energy to DNA. It's bamboozling me.
Oh, it's because if you look at a diagram of DNA, it kind of looks like a wave. That's it. That's the whole thing.
That's not a perfect wave, isn't
Nope.
it?
It's not even a wave,
So-
really. It's a spiral that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's... But if you look at a drawing of it, it kind of looks like a wave. So Jordan's
Okay,
making the connection.
Like it, so that's the correlation. Oh, God.
Mhm.
Come on. I need more.
The Nova Saber says, "How do I ankh my feminine energy?" This is not the appropriate show for that discussion. You're gonna have that discussion with
It's good.
maybe find a responsible adult who you feel comfortable talking about ankhing with.
Yeah, that's a good way. Okay, let's go.
instructions and understanding, we can transcend our 3D perspective of reality and shift into an awareness of the interconnected causality on all of the planes of existence.
Which isn't 3D.
What?
I don't, that was just word salad.
What?
Jordan
Can
just
you repeat that?
Yeah.
Please, can you repeat?
Yeah.
Ah,
let's listen to the whole sentence.
this is the mumbo
This is
jumbo.
the
This is
instruction set and blueprints for the building blocks that make up our being, otherwise known as proteins. As we increase our awareness of these instructions and understanding, we can transcend our 3D perspective of reality and shift into an awareness of the interconnected causality on all of the planes of existence.
interconnected causality on all the planes of existence. Number one, what are the planes of existence, and what do you mean by interconnected causality?
Those
This is
are
the Deepak Chopra woo-woo that I don't like. This is
it's true. Actually, if for those of you who were here last episode, I actually mentioned wisdomofchopra.com, which is basically just a random nonsense generator that takes snippets of his tweets and sticks them together and gives you
oh no.
random Deepak Chopra sayings. So we're going to visit it again, and we're going to get a couple
Sure,
sayings. So here we go.
Do they have a Twitter
Do they have a what?
handle? That website that does that bot? Do they have a Twitter handle?
I don't know.
Okay.
So, wisdom of Chopra. Our first one is the human nervous system grows through reckless neural networks.
Not bad.
Deep.
Not bad.
Okay, the web of life exists as the door of boundaries.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's Deepak Chopra woo woo.
Culture
That's not Deepak Chopra.
explains a symphony of sensations.
Oh, that could be Deepak Chopra.
Well, that's the thing. It's fun because it's almost impossible to distinguish between random nonsense Deepak Chopra and actual
Yeah.
Deepak Chopra.
Actual nonsense Deepak Chopra. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, man. I apparently Golden Unicorn and I both share.
Transcend the interconnected causality, like through different planes of existence. I'm like, this is the woo-woo.
Yep.
That really irritates me and bamboozles me. What do you mean by that?
Well,
And how is becoming more aware of what my DNA consists of will help me transcend through whatever you're saying?
maybe he'll explain it. Look, Jordan did say in his history of humanity, or whatever the thing was called, that as you gain new levels of consciousness, you'll gain new chromosomes. So apparently enlightenment comes with new chromosomes.
Oh God! Oh my goodness! Do they know that we would not look like what we look like right now if we got more chromosomes?
Oh, he does, because
You
he
know,
thinks that every time you step up in consciousness, you gain between like 2 and 20 feet in height. I hope Jordan's a giant, because otherwise, why are we listening to this guy? Look,
as the venerable BD said, "Golden unicorn. Whenever you say woo woo, you sound like a gigolo." Yeah. Oh shit. Oh God. Shit. I exposed myself. I'm exposed. All right, guys. You have a good day. I'll see you next time.
apparently we should be playing some ICP in the background. Here we go.
It's a little trickier than just thinking about, though. Understanding and awareness are not necessarily the same thing. Just as a tree does what it does without needing to understand, without a brain, so to speak.
So to speak, no, it definitely doesn't have a brain, Jordan. Trees don't have weird, unusual brain. They just don't have a brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mute Donkey says, I feel like Jordan is probably really short. Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one.
It would be something to be shorter than me. I'm 5'3" or 5'2.5", if I might say.
You're like a midget.
Yes, I am.
Do you need a booster seat at the restaurants?
Yes.
Okay.
Understanding is not required for the instructions to be followed. That simply means that, as humans, sometimes our brains get in the way of the natural flow of the cycles. You know, there's a lot of people who like to talk about life from this New Age perspective, that everything is just love and light all the time, and if we just think happily, even when things aren't going well, we'll be fine.
That's you, Jordan! You, in previous episodes of this show, have said that whatever you think becomes your reality, and if you're having a bad time, it's because of your negative thoughts. These New Age people you're complaining about, it's just you, Jordan!
Part of that. You just also this thing of like brain coming in the way of our natural cycles. Brain is very essential to make sure we don't stab ourselves. Let's just say, that. So, and what natural cycles does the brain come in between? I need to know that. This is like making these statements and they're just leaving it out there, not giving me examples. I'm just lost then. I need examples to make sure that I know what they're talking about. And they don't give any. They're just rambling on.
I doubt any are forthcoming. And I just I can't. The hypocrisy just there kind of broke me. I just spent about 5 seconds just holding my forehead in my hands and just like putting my elbows on the desk and looking at nothing because I just can't with that.
It's like that thing. I'm not that kind of the New Age people. I'm different.
Oh,
it's like that.
Even though he's exactly the same.
Yeah. It's like every Christian. Like not every Christian. I won't say that. Sorry. Every religious fanatic, if I might say. Sorry. There are good religious people too out there. So it's like every religious fanatic. I'm not that kind of fanatic.
Right.
I'm not that fanatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are. So.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Matt Powell, the creationist, is like, well, I'm not calling for genocide of homosexuals. I just think the government should kill them. It's like, I don't think that comes across the way you think it does, buddy. All right, well, here we go. As far as I know, by the way, guys, Jordan is not an advocate of any kind of genocide, which means he has one up on Matt Powell in the moral department. But then again, given the things linked in the description, that's one less because he has personally done something that should land him in prison for a very long time. So
after this, I'm definitely going there. I'm just like, what the fuck is that link?
I'll listen to it with you if you want.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
That's for after though, because I don't need that on my channel.
Now, this idea isn't intrinsically wrong, because at the highest levels of existence, yes, love and light in the fabric of reality. But it is, however, half of the cycle. We must couple action with our thoughts and feelings if we want to ground in transformative change. And we
have to really work hard to achieve your dreams. Is that what you're trying to say?
My goodness.
Must be willing to embrace and move through the negative cycles if we are to transcend the limits that they put on us. If you want to explore more about the dangers of only allowing in
Hold on. Didn't earlier he say not to associate the negative idea with things that are bad or unpleasant?
Yeah, and
That's
now
how
he's
he-
doing the
Yeah, that's how he got away with not being sexist, by calling feminine energy negative. But apparently,
I'm gonna. Where's my gentle? Seriously.
I-
Also, is he playing the Michael Jackson song in the background?
uh-oh,
Sounds like that.
we might get a
The beat.
copyright. That's why I paused. There you go. That's so as to avoid the copyright robots.
I'm just saying, like, I just heard that, or maybe it's not that. It's like it's going like that, doom doom doosh,
Yeah.
doom doom doosh, and I'm just like, what?
Positive thoughts.
Okay.
Check out our video on toxic positivity.
I might do that.
If you recall, without the other half of the cycle, we just end up with a loop. Think about it like a flowing river. If you cut off the flow, like with a dam, it creates a blockage and begins to damage everything by stopping the flow. One side experiences death due to dehydration, and the
That's not a loop.
No, it's not. A loop and a blockage aren't the same thing.
No.
Look, we're back to the Tawny Frogmouth. He just doesn't know what things are.
This is torture. Come on, man. My brain's getting fried up.
Golden Unicorn, you knew what kind of content I make.
Okay, I did this to myself. Okay.
Mhm, yep. Like I tell all my guests, you came on here knowing what kind of content I make. You have no one to blame but yourself.
Okay, let's go.
the other side becomes drowned, which continues to build up weight until eventually the dam will break unless managed, which is, of course, what people do. Now, here's an analogy. Let's say that your friend Sam is making you a delicious sandwich. You've got bread, tomatoes, avocado, chives, maybe some peppers, and a roasted portobello mushroom. That is an excellent sandwich, right?
I would want a little bit more cheese, but that actually does not sound bad.
Yeah, but wasn't he using analogy so far?
Yeah,
Like-
I'm sure this is going to go somewhere.
No, he has been using analogies a lot. But this is the first time he's saying, "Oh, let me use an analogy."
Oh, that's true. Yeah, before he's just been like, say, I'll let that go as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, I agree with Dreadlindworm and Dreadlindworm in the live chat. Sorry, man. They're saying that's not delicious sandwich. It's missing bacon. I agree. It's missing bacon.
I mean,
You
bacon.
need bacon.
I do quite like bacon. However, I do actually eat vegetarian meals not too infrequently. So, you know. Although my breakfast wasn't vegetarian, I had some sausage.
Right? Now, let's say that through some random happenstance, something happens and there's a big dollop of poo right on the top of the sandwich.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Random happens. Whatever, let's...
Do you still want it? Can anyone honestly say that they would still want that sandwich? It's perfect and in divine order, right? You don't know. It could have been in perfect divine order to have this poop on this sandwich. But let's be honest.
I want to know what divine
I'm
order
not gonna
means.
kink shame people. I don't kink shame people, but yeah. Okay.
I want to know what divine order is.
Yeah, that also. Like, what is the divine order for a sandwich?
Well, apparently it has poo
Like,
on it.
no.
It's certainly not excellent. And I don't care how delicious the other ingredients are. If there's poop on this sandwich, it's a poop sandwich. It doesn't even matter how fresh the rest of the sandwich is, or even how fresh the poop is.
Oh, I was going to
It's
ask.
not something that we want to eat. The moral of this story is that if there's poop on your sandwich, if there's something in your life that's perfect in many ways, but not excellent, or there's something just ruining the show, don't just sit there and let it be. Don't pretend that it's fine. Find out what it is, why it is the way that it is. What's the energetic cause?
Okay, other than energetic cause...
With that statement, I need to take an issue with that statement. Number one, you're promoting perfectionism. I think so. That's what they're doing. They're trying to promote perfectionism, which is very bad for mental health and well-being. No one is perfect. There will be some shit in your life that's not working right. That's what it is. And if you want to go with the positive and negative cycle and shit, there will be always something in life that's not going the way you would like it to go. That doesn't mean you have to like sit and harp on it or worry about it. That's promoting anxiety and stuff. And there are some factors that are out of your control. So there's some things that you can't do anything about. So to say that, oh, don't just, sit on it, do something about it, that's very unfair, because then whatever, you might just end up disturbing whatever nice is happening in your life.
Yeah.
Just because you're getting fixated on one thing that's not going the way you think it should be going.
Although, on the
And
other
I have an
hand,
issue with that.
also do feel free to work on self-improvement and improving your lot in life.
That's important. That's very important. But
You have to
I will add a
manage.
caveat. Yeah, manage it and don't fixate on it. If it's benefiting you, fine, go for it. But to fixate on something just cause one thing in your life is just like not going the way you want to be, and then upsetting and uprooting it might work in the long run of things for some people, but it doesn't work for many people. So this idea of perfectionism
Yeah.
is what I take an issue with. And I think so. That's what Jordan is trying to say. That, oh, if it's something not working, work on it. Okay, till that aspect, it's fine. But to take it like in every aspect of your life, that's not healthy at all. Just saying.
All right.
And this message has been brought to you by Golden Unicorn. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Okay, let's go.
And then take some actions to turn it into something you actually truly want. In that alchemy, we can really create some amazing change on this planet. If everyone could just come from that.
If everyone doesn't have problems, then we'll have made amazing change, which I guess, I don't think that's a possibility.
People in the war-torn countries, people who are affected by wars and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's their fault because of the bad thoughts, remember?
Yeah.
Look, if you're starving in a war-torn country... Oh, also, there was our F-bomb for the show.
Oh, yeah. I bumped my head into something. Yep, my fault. Negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're just starving in a war-torn country, you should think more positively.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Space, we would see a new Earth overnight, because no matter how you slice it, many aspects of life that we've set up for ourselves just don't work in the long run. It isn't sustainable. And I think that I can speak for all of us when I say that it could be something different, something magical and more in harmony with ourselves and nature. Picture it: waste-free, flying cars, spirit centers, cloud cities, interstellar travel, and the infinite possibilities that come along with all of that.
Okay, that stuff's not going to come from a positive attitude. That's going to come from things like hard work, science, engineering, and some of it may never come at all. Like, I'm pretty skeptical of the idea of interstellar travel as a thing that humans are actually going to be doing.
I don't think... like, again, spirit centers, flying cars, green energy. We are already working on those kinds of stuff. Optimism is good. I'm not saying it's not bad. Like, you don't need optimism for some things, but you need skepticism also to go with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a healthy set of skepticism or critical thinking, you're gonna end up wasting a lot of resources into useless things. So you need skepticism. Positive optimism is nice, and again, it's like he's shifting between these two things. Like, negative is not bad, but negative is bad, and that's bamboozling me. And it's like, can you stay consistent?
Yeah,
they're not staying consistent at all, and that is also another thing that's irking me a lot. So yeah,
it's all in the cycles. So with that, let's try to answer the big question from the beginning. How does the infinite universe have a beginning? I have a feeling you might already know.
What are we talking about? Light?
Yes, originally.
So he just moved to an entire different topic.
Mm-hmm. He's been all over the place this whole 27 minutes.
What the fuck? Sorry.
Oh, there's a second one. You now owe me a $10 super chat, Manya.
Okay.
It's a cycle.
$10 super.
And no, I don't know exactly what it looks like specifically.
That's a basically never enforced rule, but it is technically a rule.
But I can share with you some ideas about it. Every cycle comes to an end and then begins a new cycle. Or maybe it's just the old one continuing on again. In fact, this isn't just some new age speculation anymore. Back in August of 2020, some scientists actually put forward a new bounce simulation theory for the Big Bang that pretty much says exactly this.
Yes, in a closed universe, it is possible that there might be a big crunch followed by a subsequent Big Bang. We don't look like we live in a closed universe. It looks like the universe is ever so slightly open. But sure.
Yeah, like to have a system with like all the entropy contained within it. That's very rare. I don't think so. We have found a system like that yet. So, so okay, so they're talking it about as a fact, isn't it?
Well,
They're
I'm not
talking
sure
about-
how. So the paper was almost certainly just a mathematical model. I'm not sure exactly where Jordan's going to take it, though.
The standard model of the Big Bang emerging from nothing is great.
No, because the standard model doesn't have the Big Bang emerging from nothing in some philosophical sense, but okay.
And sure, it matches most of our observations to date, but it leaves a few things up in the primordial soup. For one, in most regions of spacetime, the rapid expansion would never.
Oh, you did actually do the $10 the 10 New Zealand dollar super chat for the swear jar. Thank you, Golden Unicorn. So, like I said,
Okay.
it's a basically never enforced rule, but it is technically a rule.
Listen, if someone wants to follow the rule, they can follow the rule. But
Oh yeah,
they
like I
don't
said,
have to, is it?
like I said, the void accepts donations.
Yeah. So this guy's saying that what was that? So just because there are some questions that are unanswered or we can't find answers to, so now he's going to play on that. Oh, there's a gap here in the knowledge, so yeah, I'm gonna fill it with my woo woo.
Yeah. He's just doing the New Age God of the Gaps, I think. Which, I mean, I get the appeal, but it's not intellectually honest.
Yeah.
stop. As a consequence, inflation can't help but produce a multiverse, which we can't concretely prove yet.
No, the Big Bang doesn't necessarily result in a multiverse. However, this is taking like a little bit of a deep dive in terms of physics, right? If the reason that the Big Bang occurred is because of variations in the inflaton field, which is a hypothetical field that exists essentially even beyond our little pocket of space-time that we call our universe, then it would result in other universes that are similar pockets of space-time.
Yep.
But we don't know that there is an inflaton field, so we don't know that there are other multiverses. It's just one possible explanation. But the Big Bang certainly doesn't result in multiple universes in and of itself. Now you might say, well, what about
we don't know that. We don't know about like we know. I think so. It's a hypothesis that the Big Bang was responsible for this universe. And so far, what we have seen or what we have observed, like Jordan said, it indicates towards that. But to add on to that, you need a lot more observations and if I may dare say, evidence to point towards anything else. So yeah.
Oh, the Venerable Beat is calling you out. He says, oh, but does that convert to 10 USD? Which, no, but I'm not going to be super picky when I don't even enforce the rule in the first place.
Listen, that's $10. That's $10. Okay, don't you dare say anything else. That it's not. Yeah, your USD is more than New Zealand dollars. Go on, flex it. But I give $10. Okay.
Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and be picky about it, especially since I don't even enforce the rule.
Instead,
it's yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, it's alright.
some scientists are proposing that we imagine a universe that expands for maybe 1 trillion years, driven by the energy of an omnipresent and hypothetical field, whose behavior we currently attribute to dark energy. When this energy field eventually grows sparse and distant enough, the universe starts to gently deflate.
Yeah, the problem, though, is that it looks like the energy density of negative energy is actually increasing over time because the rate of expansion of the universe is currently accelerating. So that poses a bit of a problem. Now, I want to be fair to Jordan here. I don't know when this was made, and it might be that this was before the relatively recent discovery that the universe's expansion is accelerating, because Jordan has been making content for like 12 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm not sure at what point in time this was made, and it might be that these conclusions were not very well established when he was making this video. So
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. Like I do the same thing on Kent with Bent, right? If I know roughly when the video was made, I can't hold discoveries after the video against Kent because it's literally impossible for him to have known that.
Yeah.
So
Over billions of years, everything gets a bit closer, but not all the way down to a point yet. The dramatic change that we all think about when it comes to creation and destruction comes from something called the Hubble radius, which rushes in and eventually becomes microscopic. The Hubble radius is basically the horizon that defines the boundary between particles that are moving slower and faster than the speed of light relative to an observer.
So it's a weird way to put it. The Hubble radius is basically how far you can see, and you can also think of it as essentially how far causality can extend. And so, beyond the Hubble radius, objects in an inflating universe are moving away from the observer faster than the speed of light in terms of their absolute change in distance over time. Now, that's not because they're actually physically moving through space that fast. It's because the space between them is expanding. But it's also not clear in terms of physics what the Hubble radius would mean, if anything, in terms of a contracting universe, right? Because
Yeah, we don't know that. Yeah.
right, because as time goes, the Hubble radius is, if you start contracting, it's probably just going to stay constant, or it might not exist because if space is contracting, then rather than having things leaving your cosmic horizon, you have things entering your cosmic horizon. So would it expand?
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
it might be a very different rate at what it is at the moment. Yeah, we don't know what the rate is going to be if it contracts, isn't it? Um, and like you said, whether we will see, like, whether there will be more things entering into the cosmic horizon than
Yeah.
before, or will it stay the same? We don't know that. But so they have flipped it in a way. So instead of the expansion, they're talking about the contraction, which is I guess which any layperson would do. They would say, oh, if it's happening one way, it will happen at the same rate the other way. So I think so that's where they have slipped up a bit, and they're making an assumption here, but they haven't given us a good reason for the assumption. So yeah, so that's what they have done. They have, I don't know, maybe it's an unconscious thing, subconscious thing they have done. They haven't realized that, but yeah, that's not how it works. It's not going. You're not going to be sure it's the same rate the universe is going to contract at the same way it's expanding. So yeah.
I want to say we got a super chat from Romulus for $5, who says, "Watch this video a bit after Jordan released it. It had like 3 or so months on it in mid 2012. Okay, I do believe that's before the discovery of the expansion of not expansion, but the acceleration of the expansion rate.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let him say that when he made this, I think that makes it fairly reasonable to say that maybe there's the cyclic universe thing, which is much less reasonable now. So we'll see what else he's got.
Okay.
So we can't be too harsh.
But yeah, we can't be too harsh, but to build up on this hypothesis, I think so then it will be, we can tell this person that, okay, whatever you put in this video might not hold today.
Right.
Because you build it on a hypothesis which seems less likely today because of all the observations and evidence we have seen so far. So, but I think so what they are going with is they're stating it as a fact, as if they know about all this.
Well,
so they're not putting it out as a personal belief. So yeah.
I wonder what he would say now about this.
Yeah, that will be interesting. From a jail cell.
Once that big distance rushes in, the universe's contraction recharges the energy field, which heats up the cosmos and vaporizes its atoms.
That
A bounce
doesn't
ensues,
sound right.
and the cycle of a new universe starts anew. And today, while we can't see the remnants of the previous universe, at least not yet, we can see the beginning.
What do you mean, not yet? What would allow us to do that, Jordan? That's one of the crazy things about Jordan, is sometimes he'll use these weasel words like, not yet.
Not yet. But we can, though, like the microwave energy, like that's the microwaves that...
That's from our current universe, though. So the microwave background is from the moment that light decouples from matter, and so the space becomes generally clear, like optically. And so that's not from a previous universe.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. I gotcha. Okay.
beginning of the cycle that we are a part of. It's really interesting. If the universe is infinite, how is it that we're existing in a finite space? And is the goal of life to
How do you know we're existing in a finite
How is
space?
number 2 existing in an infinite number series? Tell me about that.
I know. Yeah, 2 is a finite number. How can it possibly exist in an infinite number line?
Ah.
Ugh.
take what is finite and merge it with the infinite to create a new way of life and a new understanding?
Oh, Ugly German Truth says,
This is the woo-woo now. Again, this is the woo-woo.
yeah.
Like,
Ugly German Truth says, Dapper do you have to ask? If you onk your Merkaba into a feminine vibration, it will go faster than light and allow us to see it all. Look, man, this is a family-friendly YouTube channel. I don't want to hear about onking my Merkaba into a feminine vibration.
come on.
Family-friendly.
Of ourselves? Maybe, at least, that's what the Hermetica seems to describe. The union of our mortal bodies with our immortal souls.
I like how Jordan likes to reference the Hermetica a lot, but he never actually seems to quote it.
No. Also, emergence of your finite bodies with your infinite soul. Listen, dude, I need citation for that. And infinite soul, you just dropping like again the woo woo, the woo 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 woo, the woo woo. It's like, you from something a concept of like, oh yeah, the finite universe existing in an infinite space. Okay, I get that. It might be hard to conceptualize because human brains, yeah, okay, we are limited. I get you. But to move it from something to your to finite bodies into your infinite soul, that thing about infinite soul, what observations do you have to substantiate that? Please. And this is the type of stuff that people just throw in between and create a word salad. Because just because you put in a hypothesis which was valid at a point doesn't mean that your other it validates your other hypothesis that you're just putting in there. I wouldn't say that finite body and infinite soul, it's kind of like a hypothesis. It's just woo woo.
Yeah.
It's just woo woo. Give me something like a citation, something, some observations to back that up. And I will stop my rant now. Let's go.
And we'll come back around to this at a later time. For now, did you know that there was a time when we believed that the cell was the smallest thing? It was the...
No, I don't believe that.
No.
No one ever believed the cell was the smallest thing. You might say the smallest unit of life, in which case I might kind of agree. But it was never the smallest thing.
It's...
building block of life, the newspapers read. As we began to move through new paradigms of understanding, though, new discoveries led to the realization that the cell wasn't in fact the smallest thing. Instead, the molecule was.
No.
Even molecule isn't the smallest.
Well, so to be... Look. Atomic theory vastly predates the cellular theory of life. Like, by thousands of years.
Anyone seen that experiment where this guy, like, he bombarded this film of like gold, if I'm not wrong, was it gold? Yeah, with beams of light and discovered. Yeah, it's what was that experiment again? Sorry, it wasn't chemistry, wasn't it? To come up with the size of an atom, and where they discovered that atom is more empty than it is full, isn't it? What was that?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but I do know which experiment you're talking about, and it did prove that it gave us a rough estimate of the size of a gold atom. But I do think that was after the discovery of cellular theory. I do think so. But the thing is, atomic theory goes back all the way to the ancient Greeks, and then in pretty early on in like the Enlightenment period, people doing careful chemistry noted that chemicals always mixed into whole ratio numbers when you're getting the resulting product, because they could do things like check the mass and whatnot, and they realized that if you're always getting these whole number ratios, then it must mean that there's some actual physical entity that's combining as discrete objects to form a new chemical. And that was our first real confirmation of atomic theory, was when we noticed that these things are always doing whole number ratios. And that was before cells.
Yeah, that's how you explain it, you moron. It's like, I don't know who I don't know if they had like a scriptwriter or something, but this is ridiculous.
I
Yeah, so
assume
I'm just
Jordan.
I searched on Google and that's what they're saying. Oh, it was Dalton, wasn't it, who did that experiment, if I'm not wrong? Robert Boyle or someone like that. So
You might be. I don't remember the name.
yeah, the idea that matter is made up of discrete units is a very old idea and appears in the ancient cultures such as Greece and India. The word atom, meaning uncuttable, was coined by the pre-Socratic Greek philosophers Leucippus and his pupil Democritus. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, it's been from ancient Greek philosophers. So yeah, this whole thing, the timeline of it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Now, the molecule
Okay.
was the building block of life, the basic element components that make everything up. But then new discoveries revealed that molecules were made of atoms. And now the atom was the smallest thing that you can get.
And now we've finally got to the first thing in this list that has ever actually been thought to be the smallest thing. So Jordan, from now on, Jordan might be right.
Might be, yeah.
Then, you guessed it, we discovered even smaller subatomic particles, like the electron and the proton.
Yep.
So now we
Yeah.
have subatomic particles, and they are the most fundamental building blocks of all of reality, right? Well, actually, no. Subatomic particles are made of combinations of even smaller things called.
No, some of them are, Jordan. Some of them are.
Yeah.
But I want to hear. I want to hear. I'm thinking he's going to say quarks, but quarks
Yeah,
only go into
okay.
nucleons. Electrons aren't
Yeah.
made of quarks.
Yep.
It works.
Yep.
Okay,
quarks.
hold on. Now, string and M theory are the next big thing, which is like vibrating noodles in hyperspace.
But they're still making up quarks and electrons and various other bosons and leptons and whatnot.
Mm,
Smaller than all of that other stuff. Then when you get down to the absolute smallest thing in the universe, you get on the level of Planck's constant. And stuff is so small that we don't even have the technology or theory to even conceptualize of anything smaller.
It's not so much that we don't have the theory or technology to conceptualize anything smaller. And again, this is something that you guys should like check out PBS Spacetime on, right? Because I'm not well equipped to describe all of this stuff because my physics is not exactly it's not as good as say my biology. Let's just put it there, right? But the Planck length isn't just something that's like, oh, it's the limit of our technology or our current understanding of physics. It's literally the smallest distance that has any physical meaning if the standard model of particle physics is even remotely close to being right. And we know that it's remotely close to being right because it's one of the most precise theories in the history of science. So this is not just some limit to our current technology. This is a fundamental aspect of reality, that there are no distances smaller than the Planck length that have any physical meaning.
Yeah, because if you go even, I think so. Our mathematical models will just go awry if we try and go even smaller than that constant. So yeah, that's another thing. And all our other physical, like our models that are in our physics theory, they will also go awry if we go further, below the Planck's constant. So yeah, so it's yeah. This is someone who read something somewhere and decided to just sprinkle it across their video. It just sounds like that.
Well, we're going to get through a little bit more of this, but then we're going to do some wrap-up stuff. And we're going to get out of here. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Okay.
Yep.
If there's anything we know for sure, it ought to be that there's always going to be something more.
No, that's not for sure.
Or less, as the case may be. With all of our mathematics, brilliant scientists, and ever-evolving understanding, we can look and look forever. But I don't know if we'll actually ever find a bottom anytime soon. So why are we even looking? What is science for? Is it just to know? Why does it even matter? Why should it matter to you?
I mean, even if it is just to know, I do think that knowledge is a reasonable goal in and of itself, right?
Yeah, it's a reasonable goal, and it may matter to someone and it may not matter to someone else. So I think so that's what Jordan's going for. Oh, why should it matter to you or not? I think so.
Hopefully.
And he's going to tell you why.
Well, let's let him get through this point. We'll respond to it, and then I think that'll be it.
Yeah.
What difference does it make whether atoms or cells or vibrating noodles are the smallest thing? Perhaps it's because our level of understanding directly relates to the level of reality that we have control over.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Just
I take
because
issue with that statement.
just because you understand how a proton works doesn't mean you can control the proton.
Can I control that proton inside my brain
I mean, you can try.
somewhere?
Good luck.
Yeah. A proton burst out there. I need to become Jean Grey from X-Men. Yeah.
I feel like protons flying around your brain are not going to help you become Jean Grey. Spoilers.
That was the joke. Oh, come on, man.
All right. So, guys, well, first, Golden Unicorn, do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, I come from a culture where spirituality is very prevalent. And I don't mind if you want to talk about, and also I work in mental well-being where spirituality is considered as one of the aspects of your life because of the culture I'm working in at the moment. So it's not bad to have something like that. Okay, if you don't understand something and you want a solid ground, okay, spirituality. But then to go and try and connect spirituality and science, that's a big leap for me. And you gotta give me something to go on, because just cause you use these big words like harmonies and positive and negative energies and all that, and then you suddenly jump into Planck's constant and stuff and start making declarative statements, I am going to call you out on it, and I'm going to go down the rabbit hole with you. And it has happened with me in the past. When I try and go down the rabbit hole with people who make these declarations, they get irritated and they're like, oh, you're just being a skeptic for the sake of it. I'm like, yeah, that's what the thing is. I'm a skeptic because you're not making sense to me. And I think so that's what happens. That's their like saving mechanism, if I might say, or fail-safe mechanism, where their brain starts to realize, okay, this doesn't make sense. So the next thing is, oh, okay, you're just being a skeptic for the sake of being a skeptic. And they just like stop the conversation there and they just go away. They're like, oh, you're, and I've been accused of, of disregarding my own culture because of this. So yeah, so you gotta give me something if you're going to make such big leaps and such big connections. And I've seen people have failed to do that. Like Deepak Chopra, he just comes up with this like stupid shit word salad, and I'm just like, dude, I don't think so. You know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
really had faith in that guy, but yeah, he just really disappointed me.
Sorry.
So yeah, so this whole thing about spirituality and relation to science, yeah, you gotta give me more than just this woo-woo talk, if I might say. And just cause you are using scientific terms in your talk doesn't mean that they make sense, or they will make sense to someone from a scientific background, and they will take you down the rabbit hole for it. So be prepared for that. So yeah, that's my take on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going to do a little bit of science news, or not science channel news. So next week should be Eric with Erica. We had it delayed a week because Erica had to go and help out with some family stuff, which of course, here on the Dapper Dino channel, we say that your family should take priority over silly things like, hanging out on the internet and talking about Eric Hovind. So yes, we fully appreciate that Erica had to do that. So we've moved it to this week coming up, and I have double checked with her, and she does not foresee any problems with an Eric with Erica this week. Then on Thursday, I'm thinking about putting up for a premiere my mirror of my debate with Flat Earth Aussie. Which,
Okay.
yeah, if you want your brain to hurt, feel free to tune in for that. Then Saturday, Sal Cordova from the channel Evidence and Reasons, or Evidence and Reason. Don't quote me on that. We'll be on to talk about why the second law of thermodynamics is a bad argument for creationism. And Sal Cordova is himself a young Earth creationist. So we're going to have a young Earth creationist criticizing young Earth creation arguments that he thinks are bad. So that is going to be on Saturday. And that's all I really am going to do as far as prognostication about the next few things in the channel. I'm I'm working on the next Speculative Evolution video. I don't think it'll be another month until it comes out like last time, when I had my computer troubles. But with that, I think we're going to get out of here and play my end credits. And thank you again for joining me, Golden Unicorn. I've had fun. I hope you did too.
Yeah, I had fun too. That was awesome. Yeah, let's do it again sometime.
All right. Well, bye, everybody.
Bye.
I just want to take a second to thank my channel members and patrons, especially those pledging $20 and above. Bob Knob, Benthoven, Ian Chen, Chris Love, Sphincter of Doom, The Venerable Bede, Patrick Dennis, and Res Instance. My channel members and patrons help make this channel possible, and without their support, this channel really wouldn't exist. If you would like to help support the channel as a member or patron, there are links in the description to both join the channel as well as join the Patreon. Patrons and members get mentioned in these credit scenes, as well as getting early access to my scripted videos, and if you pledge $10 or above, you can also get access to various 3D assets that I create for Blender, both for use in the channel, as well as just general giveaways to my supporters to help in any Blender projects they might have. If a monthly or annual pledge isn't for you, then there is also a merch store linked in the description, and if none of that's right for you, please just like and subscribe because every like and subscription really helps the video out. Thank you.